Okay, morning everybody, and welcome to the briefing on Friday the 19th. So club flying briefing today. Still got the Nationals running, and hopefully they'll have a good day. Well, we'll have a good day. As you can see from the chart, this is the model run. It's actually the last night's chart run. They haven't produced the latest one just yet, but it shows frontal systems clearing through earlier this morning and going over to the continent, and we're in a westerly airflow, relatively clean and dry air mass with well-spaced isobars, and pressure is built a little bit as the day goes on, which will be just what we need. Build too much, and I think it is looking a bit like it's going to be blue in places, or small amounts of Q. So as you can see, well-spaced isobars, light winds. Farnborough current TAF is saying 280 westerly, 7 knots, broken at 2.5, and Gatwick are giving scattered at 4.5. I think it will start off for the first hour or two, 10, 11 o'clock, we'll have broken 2.5, 3,000 feet, and as it goes up, it looks like it's going to blue out a little bit. And hopefully we'll then have scattered at 4.5 for the rest of the day. So good news that it's quite a short TAF. Upper winds, middle of the country, westerly, light, 10 to 15 knots, I think, for most of the day. And looking at the sat pic, you can see the run through, you can see the front going through now. Go back one. Okay, the front was going through. What it's done. Front going through, as you can see there. Little bits of rain on it, just in places. But this is sort of 6:30 in the morning, so by the time you sort of see this and get to the gliding club, it'll be well clear of us. And you can see where the rain has been positioning itself. So fairly light and scattered, and I think you will get showers coming off the sort of channel out here to the west of Devon and Cornwall. But it's a relatively clear air mass, certainly for us. Temperature wise, 22, 23 degrees. Basingstoke BBC weather suggesting 22 degrees, so 23 I'm working on at best. We normally add a degree to what the BBC say. And dew points currently, obviously you'd expect to be fairly high as the front goes through. Most places are giving sort of 12s to 14s, but if you look out to the far west, out over Wales at the moment, dew points are down about 8s and 9s as the front's cleared there. So I'm working on dew points of about 7, I think, for today, and that's giving us a pretty good temperature split, suggesting 4.5 to 5,000 feet plus in the afternoon. Soundings, 1 o'clock around Lasham, showing an inversion at about 5,000 feet onwards and upwards from there. This suggests that dew points are down in about 11 by that time, we'll have 4,000 feet. Cloud base, maybe a little bit more, dew points down about 9, a bit higher. And as the afternoon goes on, these two lines here start to sort of open out a little bit, and this is where they're getting, I think, the idea that it's going to be blue-ish in places. But again, 23 degrees, it should be going up to in excess of 5,000 feet above Lasham, 5.5 above sea level at least. And as I say, it just depends on the dew points where they sit as to the likelihood of small amounts of cumulus or none at all. Haven't got an actual sounding today, so I've just looked a bit further north, similar sort of picture. This is Bicester Buckingham area. And again, 4.5 to 5,000 feet up there. And certainly by mid-afternoon to late afternoon, could even be higher. Top Meteo is sort of suggesting 1,700–1,800 meters in that area. SkySight not being quite so optimistic on thermal heights up there, but certainly chance of cumulus up that way. So this is Top Meteo's prediction on the cloud amounts. I think that's 10 o'clock. Yeah, the front should be well clear of us, and we should start to see cumulus by that point. And then they're suggesting it sort of by 12 o'clock has dried out, and we're not seeing much cumulus. I think we're going to see small amounts of Q in this area here, and more to the northwest. I really can't believe it's going to be completely blue. And then by sort of 2 o'clock, we're looking at it being sort of Q to the northwest, and they're saying blue here, but I think it's going to be small amounts of Q here, and 3/8, perhaps 4/8 out north of sort of Oxford and west of Oxford. Suggested thermal heights by 12 o'clock-ish. I hope we launched the club grid by that point. It's going to sort of 3,500 feet. And by 1 o'clock, you're looking at, they're suggesting 1,500–1,600 meters in this area here. Out to the northwest, 1,700 meters, and on into the mid to late afternoon. Let's say you saw on the ascent, it was suggesting it's going to be quite high, 16, 17, 1,800 meters out in this area, out towards Oxford. Still good over us. And I think we are going to see cumulus. So suggested distance, and it tends to go with the best distance showing where the cumulus is on Top Meteo, not necessarily where we think it's going to be the highest, but blues and greens out towards the northwest, so anywhere in the sort of Cambridgeshire area out towards Wales and the Welsh border from us should be quite reasonable. They're showing some wind arrows, so I think it's only 10 to 15 knots at most, looking at the forecast. SkySight, depth of thermals. This is sort of 1,300 hours local time. They're suggesting by that time 1,400 meters around the sort of Lasham area, and then out to the northwest, a little bit higher, and then moving on a few hours. More sort of oranges out to the northwest, 1,500 meters, 4.5 to 5,000 feet. I think this is more realistic, to be honest. Little bit less down here, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's not some sort of sea air incursion from Bristol Channel, looking at the wind direction out towards Bath and the Keyville area, so slightly lower in that area out towards the Pewsey Vale. Cloud amounts, again they're showing this sort of blue gap really through us, so Top Meteo are suggesting the same sort of thing. No real cloud base, no predicted cumulus to the north of us, but out to the northwest you get Q out towards the Cotswolds. I think we are going to see some Q. Won't put money on it, but I'm fairly confident we'll see some cumulus. And their suggested distance, it's fairly similar, better out towards the northwest, but still good for 300 to 400k in this area around here, and maybe a little bit more if you get started by 12 o'clock. Won't be an early cutoff. I think it'll still be going at 5 quite nicely. So get back about 5 to 6, between 5 and 6 o'clock should be about right. Okay, so yeah, good day. Now the front's clearing through, and should be good for a reasonable distance. Right, airspace wise, bit challenging today, as you may remember from the emails you've received. Once you get away from the Lasham area, it's absolutely fine. So let's quickly cover what we've got in here. Number 24 is actually us. Note that we've got a comp on today for the nationals. 27 and 28, I'll just scroll down to those. So 27 is the restricted airspace for the red arrows display at Odeum. 13:15 to 13:55, and that 6 mile radius basically closes us down. So if you're airborne in that time frame, you can't come back to Lasham. You've got to stay away. But once that goes, it's all fine again. Quite often, as soon as the display's finished and they're landing, then they close this down. So if it's a 20-minute display, could well be it's closed well before this time here. And also they've noted that they've got a sort of air display going on 2.5 nautical mile radius. It's not restricted area, but we just advise that there is parachuting taking place during that time. Right, other things of note. Boscombe Down, it's just high intensity radio transmissions and some from inside the danger area, so nothing to worry there. 30th is paragliding. 37, Little Rissington, ATZ is activated. The air cadets have activated the ATZ. And further north, you can see it's quite clear. 38 is just pyrotechnics at 7 o'clock at night, being fired off and coming down by parachute. So nothing to worry about there. If you're there at 7 o'clock in the evening, you're probably either turboing back to Lasham or you're going to be facing a field landing. And number 40 is the Women's World Championships at Husbos. So apart from that, quite clear into East Anglia and out towards the Mind area and into Wales. Operationally, we'd be on 27 today, folks. The runway's occupied by the comp, so it's standard north side aerotel operation for club flying. Hopefully, the comp is going to be going after the Red Arrows airspace. Hopefully, we'll get most of the club grid away before, but we will suspend club launching operations 20 minutes to half an hour before the start of the restricted airspace temporary. And then we'll make sure that if all the club gliders are flying locally, they are back on the ground at least 15 minutes before the start of the airspace. Okay, and that's about it, folks. Enjoy the day. I will see you there for part of the day, and hopefully we'll have some good flights.